Welcome to the Grow and Expand with S podcast, the number one podcast for founders and entrepreneurs who are ready to claim more from their businesses. More wealth, more impact, and more freedom. Hi, I'm Shanae. I'm an ex-corporate lawyer and law firm owner turned business coach. And I help founders and entrepreneurs create the businesses that they started this journey for in the first place through corporate strategy and mindset, because the answer always lies in the blend. Today, we are talking about our ideal client. I want you to leave knowing exactly why it is important that you have a very clear picture of one ideal client. And I want you to understand how to go about picking that one ideal client in a way that is most natural to you, that is most easiest to you, and those you resonate with the best. I work with a lot of founders and entrepreneurs, and this is one of the core areas that absolutely everybody struggles with. So it is not just you, and it takes time and refinement for people to get to that place where they're incredibly clear. But guess what? Once you arrive at that place where you are clear, that's when you start seeing success. That's when you start seeing a flurry of followers, of referrals, of people who want to work with you, people who are happy to pay big prices for your products. That's when that momentum towards that business vision starts really taking off. Like, I'm sure we can all relate to having seen people on in live, in speaking events, or in the media or on social media, and we go, fuck, they've made it. Okay, but before they made it, every single one of them nailed this, and that is their one ideal client. Okay, I'm going to take you through a story as to why this is important. You, at any given stage, are only one person. So whether you have staff or not, you're the brains of the operation, or you wouldn't be listening to this. You're the driver of the energy, or you wouldn't be listening to this. You are one person. You only have so much time, so much energy, so much mental capacity, and so much financial resources available to you. And then we're not even starting to talk about what life requires of you. And you need all of those things when it comes to families, relationships, trips, etc. Okay, so, I had nearly had a heart attack. I thought my mic was off there for a second. And I had recorded a 30-minute podcast episode before this, but never fear, back on track. So I want you to imagine someone puts a challenge to you, and it's that you have to host a dinner party, okay? And there's going to be 10 people at that dinner party. And at that dinner party, you have one goal, and that is to get a 10 out of 10. It's going to be a voting-based dinner party, I should say. I should preface it with, like, everyone's going to vote on their experience in a couple of criterias, and you have to get a 10 out of 10, and then you get handed $1 million. You get $1 million if you get one 10 out of 10, because that's all we need to make it in business is 10 out of 10 in one area, one client, one problem, one solution, one offer range, Okay, so that's the challenge that gets put to you. There are 10 people. What a lot of us do is, we roughly know the people. So we know these ones are more focused on pasta. We know these ones might be more focused on pizza. We know these ones might like Thai. We might, know these ones are more focused on the drink side of things and the fun and the energy side of things. And we can do a lot of that. We can do all of it. But so then what we go off and we do is we try to please everyone in that room. And by trying to please everyone, you are very, very unlikely to get a 10 out of 10. If you're trying to get a 10 out of 10 from 10 people, guess what? You're going to fail. Here's the alternative way to approach this and to look at it in the perspective I want to put forward. Imagine you accept, even though I can help a lot of people, I only have 1 week to hit this goal, okay? Let's say, because in business, we only have so much time until things don't work and we have to start considering alternatives. And in this scenario, you have 10 days to prepare. Let's give it 10 days. In that time, I'm going to hone in on one person. I'm going to get to know them. I'm going to ask them questions. What makes them tick? What do they like? What do they not like? What is, and throughout that conversation, things might come up and you might pick up on things like, okay, so you like a rosé, but there's this, so I'd say, do you have a favorite rosé? Because I'm spending the limited time, energy, and resources I have on going deeper with one. They might say, oh, I love this type of rosé because I'm associating it with this memory. And then all of a sudden, you now have deeper context, not of just any rosé, and maybe you picked the wrong one or one they hated. You know the exact rosé they want. You know the setting and the nostalgia and the light in their eyes when they spoke about it, so you can tailor more. And you get to know that person so well inside out that night you are catering for them. Kind of fuck what the rest are thinking. Because if you think about it, thousands of people can help thousands of people. You are not for everyone. This night, you're not for everyone. You're about giving one person a transformational 10 out of 10 experience and in return, cashing out, right? So it's a dual win-win. And so that night you go in, and in the 7 hours or 10 hours that you have to cook, you don't cook 20 different meals. You cook the whole theme evening around this person. You style the whole theme evening around this person. You incorporate little bits and pieces that you've picked up through getting to know that person around that person. The others aren't going to have a bad time, okay? Because food is food and good food and good energy is good energy. So it's not about, totally writing off the rest. It's about that person then gets that experience. They get to the vote card. They write your 10 out of 10. Bam, wham, thank you, ma'am. And so I suppose the point I want to make there is no guarantees in business, but if you want to set yourself up with the best chance of success, if you want to make things easier, if you truly want that level and depth of impact that you're here to make, and you want that freedom-based lifestyle and the funds that's coming in to support it, then this is your best chance of success. It is picking an ideal client. And over the next 12 months and forever on probably, but you'll get exceptional at it in 12 months if that is where your energy goes, that is where your attention goes, that is where your resources go. Getting to know them so incredibly well that you speak straight to their soul about how you can help, what tools you use, what struggles they're facing. You get so in their head that they're like, I have to work with you, Shanae. I have to work with you. Okay? And so that is the best chance of success you have. That's not to say if someone else is going to come and knock on your door because they've seen you in your magnetism, they've seen you in your message, they've seen you in your power and confidence, they've heard parts that's resonated, they want to work with you. You're not going to say, oh no, sorry, I'm real sorry, love. You don't neatly fit into my target client. You're not going to do that. But you're not speaking directly to all their bits, you're picking one. So I'm really hoping that you can see why it is so incredibly important that you pick one ideal client. There is so much messaging around that that's not true, that's not how to do it. You're a multidimensional human being and you should speak multidimensionally. Well, here's a hot tip. Go, give it a go, see if it works. The odds are if you are here today, it hasn't worked for you. It didn't work for me. And what did work for me was getting incredibly intentional and clear. So challenge is put to you. Okay, so how do we pick that ideal client? That's probably then the next thing. Now we're getting into the how and the strategy. By starting off by knowing that there's a lot of people you can serve, there's a lot of people you can help, there's a lot of tools that you have, there's a lot of skills that you have, but it's about picking the one that's the most aligned with your natural style of operation. Someone you can almost effortlessly relate to, someone that you can almost effortlessly get and understand, someone you probably already understand, okay, way more than you think, the thing that takes the least amount of work and resistance. I would say that's a bloody good point to start. So, most of you who's listening either has one of these three kind of categories. You've either already served this type of person before, so you've operated in your business. I'm just going to take a little sip of coffee. you've been operating your business, you have served a multitude of clients. There's some you really enjoyed. There's some that you didn't really enjoy. There's some that has qualities and characteristics that has allowed you to bring out the best in outcomes. There's some that's really resistant and clunky and you have to work extra. Like you've probably already worked with them. And so that really helps you narrow it down. Option number 2, and it could be more than one of these, right? So for option number 1, get pens and papers down, write the clients that come to your mind, what you liked, what you didn't like, give them a rating. Let's give our clients some ratings while we're picking, right? Give them ratings, understand, flesh it out. Then number 2, more often than not, and particularly in the services industry, and particularly when it's like coaching related or mentor related, and not so much, like let's say when I was a lawyer, this would be a little bit less relevant. But very often the very type of person that we're meant to be serving, that comes the most natural to us, where things flow, we don't have to try, they naturally see our magnetism. It's a past version of us. It's something we've conquered, or something that we needed and didn't get, or something that we've worked through. So it's a past, older version of us that we have transcended beyond, we have grown and expanded beyond, we have conquered, we have a way to give them what it is that they're looking for and needing, and guide them through their obstacles. And because we've walked the road already, and we're a step ahead. So we're turning around and we're holding our hands out to those behind us going, come, okay, you don't have to do this alone. Come here. How this would be relevant in the law, for example, is I always naturally attracted people who felt powerless, because I, growing up, was very powerless. At a very young age, I learned how to feel very powerful, because total side topic in a different podcast, but nothing is worse than feeling powerless. And so I was always the brave one. I was always the one who would go and get resourceful and find the solutions and find the outcomes and then share it with the rest. No need to panic, fuckers. No need to panic and, kind of fall into a heap and say that you've got no power. Look, you've got power. You've got options. You've got things you can do. And here it is. And I've gone and, figured out how to step into that power and how to get resourceful and how to get outcomes. And I'm handing it to you. And that was me in the law. I had people come to me who had absolutely been misused by someone else, and usually entities, like it's 2 corporate entities, but there's always directors associated with it. And the entity had done something incredibly wrong against them, and really used their money and their power and their resources against this person or other entity. And this person has felt powerless. And when they've come to me, no matter which area of the law, employment, construction, shareholders disputes, doesn't matter, what I gave was a powerful path and avenue to those who felt powerless when they came to see me. And so I suppose that was a past version of me. I knew I needed that. I knew I could give that. And in the law, it was my channel of giving that. And so just food for thought. Okay. So those are kind of the key ways. There's one third one. I've touched on the past version. I've touched on someone we've already served and we can't already know the answers. And then the third one is, it's likely meeting a need. And I think I touched on this earlier, actually. We're meeting a need that someone else has, that we can meet. We've learned how to meet. We've learned how to navigate through. And like I said, just in the legal example, that's just a very simple example that just dropped in for me. So the answer lies in those 3 categories. Okay. And so the challenge for you is, because this is a podcast episode, you're not one of my coaching clients. And if you'd like to do this with me, DM me on Instagram. That's where I'm at. And we can do a one-on-one 3-hour session and we can get crystal bloody clear on this. But if not, the challenge is to write out as much as you can within these 3 headings and figure out for yourself who that 10 out of 10 client is. Okay. Who is the ideal client that's the most aligned for you, that you could work for the most and the easiest, and that's most aligned. And then once you've filtered through all of that, you kind of get clear. So then once you've got that client, right, what I want you to do is write a review from them. So this review is going to be used by different people in different ways. So If you're the person who's already worked with a client and you like, they're already in your mind and you're like, yeah, that one, like I know that one came to me and I really fucking helped them 10 out of 10. And it was so easy and it was so empowering. And I left helping them feeling $1,000,000 and not drained. Then write a review from them to you. If it's a past version of you that you've conquered, write a review from your past version. If it's a need that someone is looking to at having met and it's something that you've gone and saturated for others and for yourself, embody whoever you satisfy that for and write a review. And in this review, and this is really important, it sounds super lame, but once you've done it, you are going to see the fucking magic. It is phenomenal. You're going to write a review from that person and you're just going to start, like it's going to be a storytelling review, like here's who I am, here's where I was, here's what I faced, here were my external problems, here were my internal problems, here's what it meant for me, here's how I felt because of that, here's what it stopped me from doing. Hey, then you came along and you said this and you did this. And because of whatever it is that you did and said and gave and provided, this is what it gave me. This is how I now feel. This is how it helped me. This is how I now walk through the world. And like you are going in as deep as you motherfucking can into that level of energy that I just tried my best to set. And then once you're done, you give yourself a big high five because the energetic shift that will just happen in that process will be so magical. But then after that, you review that and you can literally answer a couple of questions. Who is the person? What was their main problem? What was the main solution? What did it look like? Or what did you give them to get that solution? Okay, and then you can also see some of the other frustrations, some of the other pain. It's like almost all your messaging and ideal client is wrapped up in this exercise. It's super potent. It's super powerful. If you're anywhere near committed to finding that ideal client, do not skip this exercise. Extract that information. And then once you've kind of reviewed that, sorry, I just had to refer to my notes, but I'm kind of at the end, so I'm just going to summarize. So once you've done that exercise, you literally go and identify that person and get as detailed as you can. What hobbies do they have? Where do they spend time? What do they like? Where did you meet them? Do they hang out here? Do they hang out there? Like you just get as much information as you possibly can. And there is your ideal client. There is their demographic. And it doesn't have to be that demographic. Like, often I've helped a female. That'll be my most powerful experience. I'll write the female down. But obviously a lot of men face the exact same thing. So I steer away from demographics in my business because I work with both corporate and online. Online, I speak directly to women, but when I go to networking events, I speak to men. I can help men just as much as I can women. So I'm trying to neutralize in that sense. So you can write it down, but you can cut some things out, right? But men do spend time at different places to women. Like to find the men, I actually have to go to hardcore networking. To find the women, I just have to be online. So there is a real difference. So you just get as crystal clear as you can on as much as you can about this ideal client. You drop it into a document and there it is. From there on, you build your service, your offering, the value you're going to bring, what you're going to do, your programs, your consulting basis, your advice, your coaching days, your events, whatever it is that you do, whatever industry that you're in. You build how you're going to give them that value around that information. That's your target client. You build around that. What are those people likely to pay? How do they buy? How did this person meet me? And you build your kind of messaging around all the things that you've extracted from that, as well as the answers that come to light when you do this exercise. You build out crucial, your marketing plan around that. Like if you get in their heads and you know where they spend time, how they like to spend time, you build it around that. You're reverse engineering and building the best way to let that client give you an absolute 10 out of 10 and how to achieve that is by giving them the greatest transformation you possibly can. Because when you're doing something that kind of intently and that laser focused, when you then give them that thing, you have truly transformed them. You have given them the 10 out of 10 experience. It's not just about getting the ranking, right? To get the ranking, you have to give them the thing that they want, the thing that they need, the thing that lights them up, the thing that they were looking for. And so then the level of transformation that gives, as opposed to a lame-ass dinner party where everyone kind of liked some elements, didn't like some elements, everyone's bitching about everyone else, like, screw that. Focus on the one. Give that one person that one thing. Do this for 12 months. Over the 12 months, spend as much time as you can with those exact people or people that work with those exact people, getting into deeper layers, getting to know them more, refining your offerings and services more, tweaking your marketing more, like adjusting and amplifying everything around that for 12 months. And you watch your results pour in a way that you almost cannot keep up with. Okay, and then when you get to that stage, that's another area to look at. Then we start systemizing. Then we start doing things so that you can obviously keep offering exactly that, but in a way that takes less from you directly. And so that really is the recipe, why it's important to have that one and how to go about finding that one. So if, like I said at the start, if you want to do that work with someone who knows, has been there, done that, helped hundreds of others, and someone to just make sure that you're kind of considering all of the angles and options, then please reach out to me via DMs. I love this work. I love nothing more than when a client walks away from me having had messaging everywhere, being so overwhelmed and kind of scattered in their own mind because they just had no fucking idea really. Like they kind of had the gist, but they didn't really have the clarity and the foundation. And when they leave, they're almost teary from relief because fuck, Shanae, thank you. Okay, I was in so much pain. I was in so much overwhelm. I was in so much confusion. And after this, I'm clear, I'm grounded, I'm confident because I believe I went through the process and then I watched them fly. Nothing brings me greater joy. So if that's you, if you're my one client that's going to give me a 10 out of 10 at this dinner party, then please reach out in my DMs. I hope you have a lovely day.